In this section, we're going to discuss various exception types. All exceptions are derived from a Java-defined class called throwable. We have not yet discussed inheritance. So this section will be just a little bit over your head. You could go review inheritance if you need to help understand it. The superclass of all exception types is throwable, and it has two subclasses, error and exception. Error represents various system errors that the programmer can recognize, but rarely can do anything to recover other than issue a message and tell the user why the program has fouled up and what the problem is. Exceptions are runtime problems that can be handled. They can represent things like configuration or programming errors, which the programmer should handle, at least to recover to a reasonable point. Because exceptions are often programming errors, the programmer has a responsibility to handle them well. Now, a subclass of exception is called runtime exception, and there are 5 subclasses of runtime exception. We'll focus on those 5 in particular. The arithmetic exception says that some computation with integers failed. Usually it's divided by 0. A null pointer exception refers to a problem where a reference variable should be initialized with the location in memory where an object lives. If the reference variable has a null value in it, then attempting to reach that object will cause the null pointer exception to be thrown. This is a very common exception. Learn what it means, learn how to handle it, learn how to prevent it. I discussed an illegal argument exception before. It means that input data to a method failed, something other than what was expected. So if a method is written that requires input and that input is invalid, it will throw an illegal argument exception. An index out of bounds exception will occur when a container or collection has a request to return an element that does not exist. That is, the index doesn't exist in the collection. Either the index is negative or it's too large. This often occurs when we take the length of a container, that is the number of elements in it, and attempt to index that container at that value. The maximum value always is length minus 1, not length. Array index out of bounds exception is the same idea, but specifically for an array. And again, the most likely cause here is that the last element is indexed by the length of the array instead of length minus 1.